I believe it takes a toll on us when we take a life to nourish ourselves when it's not necessary. And I'm not saying there wasn't a time in the past where that might have been necessary because of circumstances, culture, whatever. And we're not taking away from that history and that tradition. But like we said, when you know better, you do better. And the way that, particularly in the US, that food is set up in our food systems, this is not healthy stuff. We're barely getting the nutrients we need from the fruits and vegetables that they're giving us.
Oh, I got a whole lecture on that.
Exactly. So we're barely getting it there. What do you think they're doing and injecting into these animals that they are feeding to the community? I've lived my whole life this way. I am still very sensitive to the fact that this is new for folks. And the cognitive dissonance is real, and it's reinforced by these companies that don't want to lose profits.
Right.
It is profits over people.
Have you ever looked at veganism online and thought, this looks really beautiful, but this doesn't really match my lifestyle or my lab results? That's the case we got you for today. We're going to peel back the curtain and really talk about how veganism is branded, sold, and actually lived so that people, especially in midlife, can truly support their health. To help us do that, I brought in someone who has literally been vegan since birth and has spent her career shaping how stories are told. Welcome to the Informed Choice podcast, where natural healing meets practical truth. I'm Annie, the Naija Goddess, and this is where we simplify holistic wellness so you can stop guessing and start healing. My guest today is a vegan heavy hitter in every sense of the word. She has been vegan since birth, long before it was on trend, and she has turned that lived experience into a full career of shaping culture and conversation. Jameka S. Whitten is the founder and chief executive officer of JSW Media Group, a boutique public relations and brand management agency that handles artists, fashion brands, nonprofits, and creative entrepreneurs for years. She's a seasoned publicist, writer, consultant, and creative strategist who understands exactly how messages land and why stories matter. She serves as the president of Charlotte Veg Fest, a federally recognized nonprofit that grows the vegan community and supports vegan and vegan-friendly businesses across the region. In that role, she is not just talking about veganism. She is building platforms, creating stages, and opening the doors for the next generation of plant-based chefs, creators, and brands. Under her lifestyle brand, The Stylish Vegan, she shows what it looks like to live this way with joy, flavor, and a sense of style. Not restriction and not misery. She has used her own life as proof that you can be vegan, fashionable, culturally grounded, and fully yourself at the same time. So when we talk about plant-based living is presented in the world, who it includes, who it forgets, and what needs to change so that people in midlife can actually use it to support their health, there are very few people more qualified to sit in this chair. Jameka is in the building. Welcome to the Informed Choice podcast, Jameka.
Oh my goodness, thank you so much. I gotta say, the intro made me sound real cool. See, well, I appreciate that.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much for being here. So I'm going to go ahead and jump into some questions.
Let's go. I'm ready.
Okay, so first question. What did it mean to be vegan from birth when the world around you was not?
Okay, good question, first of all. It was really interesting growing up. And let me couch that by saying that I didn't realize I was different until I got to school.
You weren't hospitalized for having protein deficiency?
Oh, man, they tried.
Oh,
Literally, they tried.
wait, I was just being sarcastic.
No, when I was born, they told my mom that I probably would not be very tall. I probably would have protein deficiency. My nails wouldn't grow. My hair wouldn't grow. I wouldn't be very smart. All of these things if she didn't, break down and eat some meat and have some dairy and all of that. And she was just like, I'm going to take my chances. So,
Smart woman.
yeah, exactly. Very strong-willed and strong-minded.
That's
And I think
okay.
I get that honest. But when I was younger, she made such a concerted effort to make sure that I had things. And so if I'm going to a party, she would volunteer to have people over at the house and have that instead so that she could control what the food was, what the environment was, what I was exposed to. So I honestly didn't realize that my cakes and pies and all of that was different from anyone else. And I didn't realize that people were really eating meat out there. I'm just like, that seems such a random and horrible concept to me. I'm just like, what you mean?
You're killing things to eat.
Kill it. Why are we killing the things? I was like, they're so cute. They're so
Yeah.
little. Like, what are we doing? The family, I mean, I was always aware, but I just thought it was strange. So it wasn't until I got to school that it really cemented in my mind that I was the outlier and everybody else was the status quo.
You look at them like y'all weird.
Right. I remember aunts of mine trying to take me to McDonald's, and I'm like 5 years old going, I don't eat that. And being very strong-minded and strong-willed,
I
and
love that.
I mean, I was serious. That's how I learned how to read, was reading on the back of ingredients labels, so I knew if something was too long, I probably couldn't have it, and I'm just like, if I couldn't pronounce it, I was reading at a very early age, so
Oh, your mom is amazing.
yeah, she was good. She passed in 2016. Sorry. Thank you. But yeah, she amazing visionary. And so was my dad. For them to think, hey, let's do something different and let's raise a child who's never had meat or will never have meat and never have dairy, never have seafood. And this was before vegan was even a thing, right? This was before, well, the label.
The labeling.
Yeah, the
in
label.
the United States.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because, in indigenous places and in,
Yes. Pre-colonialism, we were pretty much vegan.
yeah, everybody was plant-based.
Yeah.
And so that's how I started. It's just been a thing. This is what I was born into. And so it's always been natural. Growing up was challenging once I started being around other people. That's when it got challenging. But even then, I loved the whole, like, living by example, and years would go by, and, like, I have friends who knew me back when I was, 8 years old, 9 years old, and they're just like they're such advocates of, even if they're not vegan, they're such advocates of veganism, and they tell people all the time, "Ooh, yeah, I had tofu when I was little because I used to go over to Jameka's house and her mom used to fry it up and we had this, that, the other." And they would tell people, no, no, you're not plant-based. You're not vegan. I know a vegan, and it's so funny how people become empowered with the information and have been able to change their diets in some sense because of just the exposure. So I think that's what I'm really thankful for, is the exposure to different things.
So you've been a trailblazer your whole life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so. And I don't always think of it that way. I just think of it as life. And how can I impart as much knowledge to folks as possible without being overbearing, without being, you got to do it this way and this is the only way, or, bad things are going to happen to you, because sometimes people need a different approach. Not everything's gonna work the same.
Yeah.
And you have to meet people where they are. And I think that sometimes in the movement, we get a little overzealous. We get a little, and it's coming from a place of love.
Absolutely.
It's definitely coming from a place of love. I liken it to, I might get in trouble for this, but this is how I liken it to. When you in the Pentecostal church and you first get saved and you're like, everybody going to hell, I got to do what I got to do to make sure that not everybody goes to hell, and I got to preach the word to, it's Saturday morning at 7 a.m. and somebody just trying to get their coffee at the gas station. You like, do you know about Jesus? So it's the same kind of enthusiasm when people first turn vegan.
And then people can be off-put by it.
Right.
It's a little too much, too strong.
Because they're baby vegans, right?
Yeah.
So like you're new to it and you want everybody to understand and know exactly what you just found out, because you found out
And how you feel.
Yes, because you feel good, right?
Yes.
And you want everybody to feel that good and know the history and know what, it's not about what you may see on TV or what you've read about or seen on the internet. This is some good stuff. Let me share. And I think it's so cute. It really is. But it's also like, all right, y'all, if we are really trying to spread the good news and the good word, see my little metaphor word, you could have, hey, shout out to JC. But, if we really want to do that effectively, we have to meet people where they are, and not every approach is going to work for every person.
Absolutely.
And sometimes you need that hard hitting, like, you are doing the wrong thing. You are killing yourself, blah, blah, blah. Yes, that is needed at times. But sometimes, hey, let me take you out for a meal. Let's have a conversation. Can we go get coffee? Can I just invite you to my world and you see how I do things
Right.
without me having to do the hard sell? You can just see how it flows.
I love that. And I think I've learned from teaching a bunch of plant-based cooking classes, meeting people where they are is so important. And I always let the people know in class, like, I'm not here to make you vegan. I'm here to provide you with nutrition information.
Yep.
And so that you can have the informed choice to make the decision. So that way you can't say you didn't know, because a lot of the stuff you just didn't know. I didn't know. It's like the great unlearning. That's what I like to say.
Yep.
So be kind to yourself. Start where you can, do what you can, but we can always all agree, for the most part, minus the carnivore people, is that we all need more fruits and vegetables in our daily diet.
Exactly. How is that ever a bad thing?
How is that bad?
How is that bad?
Right.
But you have companies and organizations that try to undermine that simple fact.
Right.
That, it just amazes me how we could demonize eating more fruits and vegetables. Like, how is that even possible?
Like, how many times were you hospitalized for not having enough protein?
Right. Right. Like,
And how tall are you? Okay. So your bones are okay.
Everything is so fragile right here. And I look like I've been missing a whole bunch of meals. Like,
And your hair is not that long.
at all. At all. Like, bald headed.
All the stereotypes.
All the stereotypes. And so I really had to combat that a lot, especially in high school and college. And I went the institutions that I went to, I was different for a variety of reasons. Usually I was one of the only Black folks there. I was definitely most likely the only vegan. I was from a single, parent home. I was from it's like all of the others, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I embraced that otherness.
Made you special.
Yeah, I was like, oh, y'all are kind of cookie cutter, and I'm a little different. I've had locks my whole life. I've had natural hair my whole life.
Oh, your mama, she's amazing.
Listen, she was doing some things.
Yeah.
She was doing some things. And dad, too, shout out to my father. I don't want to think, they're both gone now, but I am their living legacy.
Yes.
So I just got to roll with it. And if people feel comfortable asking me questions and wanting to come and get knowledge however they need it, I want to be able to be that conduit.
I love that. Before I go to the next question, I always like to tell people, people get caught on the word vegan, and that's relatively a new word.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, it's not vegan, it's just food. Okay, this is just food you would normally buy in a grocery store. But I even say, I took a picture of it, showed it to my mother. I went to Whole Foods one day, and they had vegan lettuce.
What?
Exactly.
Wouldn't the lettuce not be vegan?
Exactly.
What are they putting like chicken stuff on the lettuce now? Like, let me know so I can afford
vegan lettuce. The tax of vegan, and so when people they would come to restaurant, I just want regular fries. I don't want vegan fries. I used to co-own a restaurant, and people, the vegan with the dragging the non-vegan. Y'all have fries? Y'all have regular fries? I don't want any vegan fries. Well, there's still potatoes.
Right.
And it's just like the word vegan, they just get so scared and just like, I just don't want anything associated with vegan.
It's so frightening for them.
It's terrible. I'm like, but you'll eat
why it's so scary.
the pig's intestines, you'll eat the butt, you eat the ear, you eat all these other parts of
But let it be vegan. Woo!
But let it be something that's grown from the ground. All of a sudden it's super scary. And then, so I wasn't very empathetic at first, but when I start watching, I said, this is actual true fear. And I said, let me adjust, because I've had time to adjust this, because I didn't have the luxury and pleasure of being born that way. I wish I had. Wish I started my locks early. I wish I was born, So let me empathize and just meet them like, would you normally buy lettuce? Would you normally buy beans?
Mm-hmm.
Would you normally buy sweet potatoes? Okay. This is stuff you're already gonna buy. Okay. And here's how we're gonna make it nutritionally dense. Here's how we're gonna make sure all of our macros and micronutrients are met. So you don't feel like you're gonna be deprived of this or that, and just meeting them where you are, and just like, and I don't call it you hardly see the word. I don't think vegan's on my website or anything, but it's the word vegan that just like, when I saw that vegan lettuce, I went to the manager of the produce sector. I said, what are you,
Take this off. Why would they? Who did
He was
that?
like, I don't know why. Please take this off, because now people are gonna start thinking that there's a difference between lettuce and vegan lettuce.
That
They sure did. Uptown, the one in Uptown.
oh my goodness, that's like it's a running joke with a few of my friends, because I have a lot of non-vegan and just regular people, regular friends, and and he's gonna laugh when he sees this podcast and listens to this podcast. But I have one friend who this was years ago, and we were at a party, a house party, and they had salsa out, or like salsa and chips out, right? And so I'm like, oh, well, there's not much I can eat here, but the salsa and chips, I was digging it. When I tell you, I was eating like I had never eaten before. And so I'm just digging in, and he goes, oh, what are you doing? I said, what do you mean? He was like, salsa's vegan? And I said, what did you do to it? He's like, nothing. I just took it. I was like, well, let's read the ingredients together. And I'm just like, there's nothing in what? I was just really confused. And that's when it really hit me that people don't like even little things like potato chips, right?
Yes.
And they're just like, how is that vegan? And I was just
Most of the time.
most of the time. Now, not all of you. You got to read the ingredients, y'all. Let me please say that not all the brands. Don't go to the store and be like, Jameka told me that all the chips was vegan. No, I did not. Let us bring it back. Fake news. But that was a realization for me that people are just uninformed. It's not, the fear isn't from a malicious place. They just don't know. They have no idea.
Yeah.
And because of the misconceptions from the past with veganism being associated with hippies and white and elitist and all of these things, and being expensive and all of that, then that's what the vision is. Or like being or all they think about is like somebody throwing blood on fur at an award show or something like that.
And that turned off so many people.
It did, because there wasn't a deeper education. It goes back to those being when I was saying earlier, people being so excited to stop animal cruelty, and also to talk about like health, and putting that all together, that they don't always go about it in a way that is palatable to the masses.
Yeah.
And there are cultural differences.
There are definitely cultural differences.
It's definitely cultural differences. And when you don't acknowledge that, we can't, colonialism happens with food too.
Still happening with food.
Still happening with food. And when the vegan community doesn't address food deserts and food insecurity, and acknowledge that people have real problems when it comes to being able to have access to fresh food and all, it's not a given. Sometimes this choice isn't easy for folks because they don't have the access or the knowledge or the resources. And that's why you have to meet people where they are.
Exactly.
My mom, we did not always have money. And we were at the dollar store. We were at the Walmarts. We were at these like regular grocery stores trying to figure out how we're gonna make $1 out of 15 cents.
Right.
And that is getting the canned goods. That's getting whatever fresh produce you can and figuring out how you're gonna make that taste good.
Yes.
But we're rooted in that, right? Like that's our culture. We were always given things that were the scraps that nobody else wanted, and we made it taste good.
Something magical.
So that's why you have to still acknowledge that these horrible foods that we still eat, that the culture still eats, is rooted in a place of resilience, though. And it's rooted in a place of beauty, because it's beauty that it grew from the concrete. These are the roses that
rose through the concrete.
Yes. And so for us as people who are a little bit more woke, I know we don't like to use the word no more because people done took it, but who understand about nutrition and enlighten. That's such a see. That's why you. This is why you have this show. That's why, you know, for those of us who are a little bit more enlightened, it is it. The burden does come on our shoulders to share, but again, I know we keep saying it, but meet people where they are and acknowledge the culture. Food is culture.
Yep.
That's why people, I know in our family, it took a while for people to understand us and what we were doing because I know even with my grandmother, initially she saw it as a rejection of culture because she's like, "Did you think I was trying to kill you all these years?
Mm.
Did you think I was trying to harm you?"
Mm.
And it's not that, it's just not knowing. But I am a firm believer as once you know better, you do better.
Have to do better.
And when you don't, when you have the knowledge and you still sit on it and you don't do what you're supposed to do, then you have to understand what the consequences are going to be.
You have to accept those consequences and deal with it or make the change that you know you need to make.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's with all, and I think the misconception, and I don't know, that might be a question later, I don't know. But the misconception with veganism, specifically using that word, is that it's always healthy. And veganism, by definition, doesn't have anything to do with
Nothing to do with health.
nothing to do with health. And so I think people get caught up in that and try to use that as a, well, you're vegan and you weigh this amount of, weight and you're not skinny and you're not this and you're not that. And I'm just like, well, let's separate eating healthy and plant-based from veganism and know that they work in tandem. But let's get the definition straight. I think so. There's so much education that needs to happen across the board.
Absolutely. Okay. What parts of that experience that you just spoke about were joyful and what parts were hard?
What was joyful was just meeting people and sharing who I was with them, and then being like, "This is so new and this is so cool. Thank you." It's the sharing of the human experience.
It was fresh for people.
It was fresh. It was fresh, and I'm just like, "This is something I've always done, and this is so new for you, and this is so beautiful to see that you are excited, and that this gives you a new lease on life, or it gets rid of your brain fog, or it gets, whatever. It just makes you excited for whatever reason, right? Or maybe you now see that you can live a more compassionate lifestyle, and you don't have to kill to eat.
Right.
Like, that's a thing. Like, that takes I'm getting a little metaphysical right here. I already talked about God and Jesus now, sorts of stuff. So I might as well just get metaphysical as well. Um, I believe it takes a toll on us when we take a life to nourish ourselves when it's not necessary. And I'm not saying there wasn't a time in the past where that might have been necessary because of circumstances, culture, whatever. And we're not taking away from that history and that tradition. But like we said, when you know better, you do
Yeah.
better. And the way that, particularly in the US, that food is set up in our food systems, this is not healthy stuff. We're barely getting the nutrients we need from the fruits and vegetables that they're giving us.
Oh, I have a
Because
whole
of
lecture on that.
Exactly. So we're barely getting it there. What do you think they're doing and injecting into all these animals that they are feeding to the community? And everybody's suffering from that, not just black and brown folks, but we are disproportionately feeling it because traditionally we don't have that same access and resources to true farmed animals that literally just live on the farm
Right.
and aren't through the big factory farm systems and chock full of antibiotics and all of these things and ruining the land and ruining the
And
ecosystem
those animals were eating all this genetically modified
exactly
food.
and then it's going straight to you.
Yeah.
But I do think that there is a spiritual connection that we should explore and talk about, like, we are all this suffering from these animals, and then you're ingesting that? That's gotta take a toll. That's gotta have some kind of an effect. And, yeah, people be like, "Oh, that's a whole lot of metaphysical, philosophical, so whatever." And I'm like, "Yeah, but energy is transferred."
I think you're spot on, but of course I'm slightly biased since I live the lifestyle for our listeners out there. But when you're saying that, it reminded me of a video when earlier on when I became vegan. I can't remember. So I want to say his name was Gary. He was doing a lecture, and he made the comment of how this is not natural to humans. If you put a baby in a crib and you put an apple and a rabbit or even a chicken, the baby's instinct is to put the apple in his mouth and play with the animal, right? Versus if you did that with a true carnivore, that would not
That's not happening.
be the natural reaction.
Yeah.
And so people being, when people learn, especially when you're a child, that this thing was killed for it to be on your plate, they normally cry, they feel bad about it. And then you have to you're trained to say, don't get too close to this animal because it's gonna be your dinner.
Yep.
Don't name it. Don't become friends with it because this is gonna be on your plate. And so you learn that disassociation.
Oh,
So
yeah.
when animals are harmed, that's just what has to happen so that I can live. When that does not have to be the case at all.
No.
It's a choice. That's why this show is called Informed Choice. It's for people to make the choice that they think is best for them, but have the knowledge that's backed by science and not just science, because science takes a while to catch up to truth. But to make an informed choice, because you don't need to eat meat and dairy every breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snack. Okay, you can cut back to one meal a day, right? And so vegans on the other side of the spectrum can get mad at me for saying things like that, because it's like, no, you just say, no, you cannot eat this, you cannot eat that, but you're not meeting people where they are.
Yep.
And everybody can't do an about face. Like, I'm a person, when I know better, I do better, and it's immediately I'm done.
But not everybody's like that.
Correct. And I always gave the little story about my husband. Like, he's not an about face kind of person. His transition was long, right? Mm-hmm. So in the house, he did right, but when he left, here comes Chick-fil-A and Bojangles and all the things, right? So you have to understand that everyone's not the same, and everyone has grace. And when people fall down, you have to encourage them to get back up. If you're gonna beat them while they're down, they're gonna. It's like them throwing the blood on the fur. Yeah, it's like it's gonna be repelling. So it's like, if you want ultimately for people to be healthy, and you want animal cruelty to stop, and you want the environment to be all the things, then meet people there and be gracious. Just give them the information and let them do what they will. And by your example,
yep,
they will, as you have done through your whole life, they will do better. And so people come to me all the time like, oh, I'm not vegan, but I went to the farmer's market. I'm not vegan, but I stopped eating this, and then my A1C has gone down this, or I've lost 10 pounds, or I slept through the night. And just from doing these small things, I'm like, that's compound interest. Over time, you keep doing these little things, they do add up and make a really big difference.
They really, really do. And what's interesting to me is when you have folks who are like, be vegan, go vegan, that's it. Like, that's their hard stop. And I'm going, listen, y'all, we need to start where we can start and do what we can do and make it realistic, because the truth is not everybody's going to go vegan. No, they're just not. It's just hard truth now. But can we get people to eat less meat and less dairy? Absolutely. Because guess what? If we're looking at it from an animal rights lens, right? Does that pig or that cow care why you didn't eat something? Do they care if it was about the environment, or because you really love them, or you want to be healthier? They just don't want to be eaten. So I think that however we need to get there,
families too.
Yeah, they're like, hey, do what you got to do. I don't care what as long as the end result is the end result, and you're not harming anything in the process, then we got to be more flexible.
This is a controversial statement, but I'm like, if you're pro-life, then be pro-life. And when I've said that, there has it didn't sit well with many people.
I'm sure,
because they were saying you can't equate a human to an animal. I'm like, if you're pro-life,
sentient beings,
be pro-life.
Sentient beings are sentient beings, and that's how people justify things, because they're like, oh, well, they don't feel, they don't have the same emotions that we do. If you've ever watched animals in groups and caring for their young and all that, people just don't want to do it, because then they have to think about what they're eating, and they have to think about the fact that that's not really a steak, that's someone's mom,
right?
And that's hard. And that's not an easy thing for folks. And even though I've lived my whole life this way, I am still very sensitive to the fact that this is new for folks. And the cognitive dissonance is real, and it's reinforced by these companies that don't want to lose profits.
Right.
It is profits over people. And that's what if we're really gonna get mad at something, that's what we need to get mad at, is these organizations and these companies that are able to put these kind of chemicals and harmful things into our food.
Right.
And these preservatives and all these, all the things.
That's not allowed anywhere else in the world.
Anywhere else in the world. I was in Brazil this time last year. And just eating the food, just like eating just regular food at a restaurant, and they had mad, oh my goodness, they had so many vegan spots that I went to. I was like, oh my.
And they're like the capital of the
beef
cattle.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I'm just like, and they were open to folks. There wasn't that same scorn when you talked about being vegan or being plant-based. It was very open and just like, oh, and you could see people making strides. But I bring that up because the food tasted so much fresher. It just tastes different.
Tasted farm to table.
Yeah, truly farm to table without the people who were walking around, without all the animals. Yeah, farms. It was great. But,
it's a difference when you travel internationally.
It really is. It really is. And even when, and I don't know if you remember, but back in the day, I don't know how old you are because you look baby face, so cute. But back in the day, even the fruits and vegetables from the side of the road in South Carolina that you grab the watermelon and all that from, or the farmers markets back in the day, the food tastes different than it does now.
Well, I'm from Nigeria, and we always have roadside markets. And then so coming to the United States, my family adopted the American way, let's say that way. So everything's in the grocery store. So it was always this depending on where we were traveling, this juxtaposition of here's real food and here's this is how Americans eat.
Right. And there's a reason why Americans, generally speaking, are not healthy. We don't move around enough, and we don't eat the right things.
It's a sad diet.
It's such a sad diet. Yes. Standard American diet, man, it's a trip. It's a trip. And when you start to peel back the layers, it just goes even deeper because this is culturally based. People don't want people to be healthy because then oh Lord, don't get me into my
politicize health for profit. And then they make stuff on that you try to say a very simple message. People want to nitpick it and tear it apart and say, well, no, that's not, and then I realize when it comes to food, especially when being in a restaurant, having my own restaurant and co-owning a restaurant, people, when they're hungry, or people get hangry,
oh yeah,
there's no patience. They don't care. They don't want to hear anything. They're ready to eat yesterday.
Right. And give me whatever you can make quickly.
Right now.
Yeah.
And so they can know all this stuff, but in the moment for the folks that are like that, and there's quite a few, I learned that that's a thing. Whenever they come in, they're like, I need something now. And I don't care if it's vegan, not vegan. I need it to taste good. I need to fill my belly up. I need to do it right now. And yeah, so it's okay, when food is something that's very personal to people. And that's why there's so much fear around it. And so when they get all this marketing, this seductive marketing that makes them feel that they should go a different route that's actually not healthy, but it's just all marketing, and they've been marketed to, they don't realize it. Then it's they're scared to make a different choice. And at the end of the day, we're talking about fruits, vegetables, and whole grains.
How is that how is that a bad thing? It's because big business is keeping people sick.
They're all in cahoots.
They're all in cahoots.
That's why you have Food and Drug Administration.
Yep.
So you have the pill for this. We got the hospitals for this. We got the poison food we're giving you, and round and round and round we go.
And everybody's making money except for the people.
Right.
And the ones who are suffering from that are the ones who are going to be in the hospital.
Right. And people feel like they're going to lose their sense of family and tradition by incorporating these things. I'm like, no, you can make simple swaps with whole food plant-based.
Oh my goodness, it's so good. Listen, I host Thanksgiving dinner every year. And it's completely 100% vegan. And half of my guests are usually not vegan.
Same. I get it.
And they come every year.
And love it.
Love it.
Have you noticed, since you've been vegan your whole life, because I've been noticing this in my 8 years or so now, anytime I bring this, not just because I'm a chef or anything like that, but anytime there's a vegan dish at a regular party,
it goes quick.
it's the first thing to go.
First thing that goes.
They was like, ooh. I'm like, you got your stuff. Can we have our little?
No,
And they just,
I'm always hungry because people will eat my food quickly, and I'm just like, one hand is like, can you unhand me? Unhand me, you great.
no, I literally asked like, why are you? And I said, why are you eating it? Well, I want to try it too. I said, you're being greedy.
And then on the other hand, I'm so
I'm like, I've been glad. Yeah, like, can I get something first so I can eat?
I started telling my friends, I'm like, can y'all just put a plate aside for me? Because you know this food gonna go real quick. And one thing that my friends have started doing, which I think is really great, is they themselves have started to incorporate vegan things when they know I'm going to be there or other people.
It's very kind.
Because I also tell them, I was like, it's not just me. Some people are lactose intolerant.
Yeah.
Some folks have other health issues and can't eat certain things. If you do, my whole thing when I was in high school and college, I used to tell people, I said, if you make a side dish vegan, everybody can eat it. But if you make it vegetarian, only some people can have it.
Right.
And if you put meat in it, I was like, just do something that's universal. It's fine. You can do a swap that makes sense. Guess what? Now they have vegan butter.
Ooh.
They have, vegan milk alternatives. There are things that you can swap out. And if you don't like the stuff that's in the store that's highly, yeah, you can make your own. And it doesn't take as long as you think it does.
Right.
And there is something for everybody. And okay, if you don't care about health and you just want to eat some junk food, we got that too. Okay, you can switch it out.
The whole gamut.
And here's the thing. And people, and I know this is also controversial, but it's still true. Yes, the manufactured vegan food is not the best because it's got all of the preservatives, all of the stuff. It's sometimes made in the lab, whatever. People use that as an excuse, but vegan, blah, blah, blah. It is still better for you. And people have done studies on this. Those processed foods are still better than the actual meat. And not saying it's better, like in terms of like what you need to have.
Perfect.
But if we're doing side-by-side comparisons, it's still better than, like, the Beyond Beef patty is still better than a regular beef patty if you go toe to toe
down the line.
So I always share that with folks who are like, oh, the processed vegan food, blah, 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 blah,
As if
blah.
that's the only thing.
Yeah, and I was like, number one, that's not what everybody's eating on a regular basis. That's like, you don't eat McDonald's every day, do you?
Right.
And if you do, that might be something wrong with you. I was like, it's the same way with like plant-based.
That might be an occasional indulgence.
Right. It wasn't created for you to eat every day. And I think that's the misnomer. Like people are like, oh, I'm just supposed to like incorporate that maybe as a treat or something. Or if you're out and about and there's nothing else there, but they have a Beyond Burger or they have something like that in the menu. Yes.
But they thought about me. Okay.
Yeah. Maybe you'd make the exception but that's the same thing as if you're not going to eat cake every day for breakfast either.
Prayerfully not.
It's just, I want people to expand their minds a little bit more.
I think the way you live your life, that's how they're doing it. You're living by example. So yeah, it's very impactful. I'm going to segue into your branding background and how veganism is packaged. So if you had to describe the dominant image of veganism in media right now, what does that look like to you?
A lot of very skinny, happy people, which is great in one sense. But I think that where we're missing the mark is that we're not showing reality. We're not showing real bodies. We're not showing real people. We're not showing, we're glamorizing it. And with that glamour, it's being shown as, it comes off as elitist, not for everybody, a special club, extremist. That's how it comes off sometimes, I would say. Doesn't come off as inclusive, not culturally, racially, or other. It doesn't. It's really disheartening to see some of the images being so very white, just to be honest. and not embracing as much indigenous and black and brown as it should be.
Because
They
actually we were always
always there, always plant
traditionally free colonialism. Yeah.
And so what I think with that though is, and there's an opportunity, and I see the tide changing a little bit because you have like the Tabitha Browns, you have like John Lewis, you have all the folks who are really being out there, right? And showing the different facets and the different looks of veganism. I mentioned Tabitha because that was nice to see that she wasn't like the stereotypical vegan, and it wasn't like all about, sometimes people
Yeah,
think,
she's still little.
yeah, she's so little, but in the sense that, I think that's because she's an actress and has to be in Hollywood and
All those things.
but she still had like a very down
Yeah.
kind of persona. Now, some people that may not click with, but for that demographic of the folks that had never been exposed to anything, that was a win
It's still powerful because she still exposes.
all the time.
Yeah.
And she talks about her story and why she became vegan and all of that. So I think that's powerful. And think about like all of her I don't say little, I don't mean it like that. Sorry, Tab. I mean it like that. But all of her Hollywood friends who are now coming to her house and eating things and, acknowledging the word vegan even in their posts and all that kind of stuff. I think that's truly powerful. And at least it's some diversity on the large scale that we can see.
Yeah.
Um, Veganism has a really bad PR problem.
Oh, I'm so glad you said.
It's just a really bad, and I've been trying to work on that my whole life, essentially, without even knowing that's what I was doing. I was like, we got to rebrand this. That's why I came up with Stylish Vegan, because people were always surprised that I liked cool things and that I was a real person and that I would go out and have a cocktail with them. Or, you know what I mean? They're just like, oh, you're not all about, it's not about being strict all the time. That's good, but it doesn't mean we're fun. Like, that's what I swear. I think people think that vegans are just like, it's all about deprivation as opposed to the opposite.
Far from it.
It's like when you open up yourself to all of the different types of food, and there's so much food on the planet. There's so many great fruits and vegetables and seeds and nuts, and you get really creative with food, and like you get really creative and come up with stuff. Like, who else is gonna come up with like how to make a steak out of an almond? Like that's just some really interesting, very cool things, and it's innovative. And I think that we're looking at it from the wrong lens. People look at things that they have to give up as opposed to things that they're gaining.
Adding
You're adding
you're
to your life.
adding to your life. Because I always tell people, especially in the classes, you go to the grocery store, especially people who are like midlife and older, you've been buying the same groceries
Every time.
every time. I'm like I always say, like you think you eat such a wide variety of things, but you just had hot honey chicken, lemon pepper chicken, Jamaican jerk chicken. That's not variety. You're still just eating chicken. But look, even in the regular grocery stores that don't have that much variety of produce, you still only eat spinach and you might do kale, but you don't. When's the last time you had endive or radicchio or Napa cabbage or like chayote squash? When have you had that celery root? Rutabaga, like, have you had these things ever?
Listen, I was acting all fancy at the grocery store yesterday because I'm gonna tell you, I went and I got myself my artichoke. I love to like have artichoke. I thought I was better than everybody in there. I was picking up the artichoke and I was like, yes, I'm going to make this at home. Thank you. Elitist. That's my only elitist part. I'm just like, yes. That's also, and I have to mention this because I was talking about it all Thanksgiving. When I made my potato salad, I use real dill. Not dried, fresh dill. In my potato salad, I felt like I was better than everybody. Shutting it up. I was like, yeah, that's all y'all getting. Like, don't ask me to cook no more else. Nothing else. But yes, potato salad.
The real deal.
The real deal. I like that. Yeah, I'm ridiculous. Had to throw that in. I like it.
Okay, well, as a brand strategist, what do you think that the dominant image does for particularly like women in midlife scrolling her feed who's tired, in pain, or scared about her lab results?
It makes her I would think that it makes her, that person, feel like this isn't attainable. This isn't for me. No one is meeting me where I am. They're just scrolling and seeing all of these glamorized and filtered pictures and, airbrush stuff thinking that that's real, being passed off as real things.
Or AI now?
AI generated things. We're like, oh, her body is perfect. She has no blemishes. She's not good. Her perimenopause must look different because she's just having a great day. There's no rage. There's no mind fog. Her day is great, and it makes the lifestyle look unattainable when you aren't reflected in the marketing. So I think that's what the problem is. People are not seeing themselves.
Okay.
And I think that if we could show real life, polished real life, because it's still marketing, it's still PR, you still got to polish it up a little bit because people will still want to be aspirational, right? That's the thing. But you need to have things rooted in authenticity. And that's pretty much how that's my philosophy to communications, branding, and PR. I root everything in authenticity. Let's get to what the real deal is, and then we can make it pretty.
What made you go that direction in life? What prompted that?
I was tired of seeing fake things.
Oh, so that's okay.
Yeah, like just literally, I've always been a storyteller.
Okay.
And I just wanted to tell real stories. And so I started off as a journalist. I thought in school I was going to be, I was going to report, I was going to be Oprah.
Breaking the news.
I was going to do all these things. And although I love that, building a brand or helping people revise their brand and come up with what that looks like and really talking to people and getting the true story and then helping them amplify that was so much more attractive to me. And helping people tell their stories, and not necessarily from a journalistic point of view, but like really, what do you want to show the world? What do you want to get out there? How do you want to be seen? That's what drew me to branding and PR and communication.
So when did you start that business, and did Stylish Vegan come first, or was that afterwards?
Stylish Vegan, as the name, came after.
Okay.
I started JSW Media Group in oh gosh, we are going to be celebrating 20 years next year.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's a major accomplishment.
yeah, 2000. Oh my goodness, 2006. Yeah, I founded the company in 2006.
Wow. Okay.
And so we're coming up on our 20th anniversary, which is amazing. Oh my gosh, it just kind of hitting me all right now. Great. Yeah,
Yeah, a big party.
yeah, there will be some things. There will be some things that will happen. Yeah, I started that and started working with small businesses and artists and creatives and all of that, and then started to expand to nonprofits. And Stylish Vegan grew from that because I knew that I still wanted to help grow vegan businesses because that's part of who I am. That's part of my identity. That's my authentic self, right? So, in order to help pull authenticity from my clients, I got to do that for myself too and show again by example, So, what am I going to do to feed my own creativity? And that's where Stylish Vegan came from.
Okay.
And it's sort of like what we talked about before. I wanted to show people that veganism doesn't have to be this like you're getting hit over the head with facts and figures all the time. You are doing bad things, people. Why are you eating that? Like why? Yes, that is necessary. But in my lane, what I want to do is show people that this is a fun club to be in. This is good. You can still have fun when you are vegan.
It's not deprivation.
It's not deprivation. You can still be your whole authentic self. You just don't have to eat the cow.
Right.
Like it's not necessary to have the fried chicken.
I have people that say, I'll be vegan, but this. I'm like, okay, well then do that.
Yeah.
If you could quote unquote be vegan but cheese, then do that.
Because what they don't understand is that eventually you will lose a taste for that.
Yes.
And it'll just naturally, it's a process.
In your view, does the way veganism is presented match what I typically hear in my clinic, where particularly women tell me it feels too extreme, it's too aesthetic, it's disconnected from their culture or their family life? How do you feel about that?
I think that their feelings are valid and are rooted in things that they've seen
Mm,
or not seen.
mm. Not seen.
Yeah, so just with what I was saying before, we got a PR problem. And that PR problem is it does seem like it's out of touch. And, yes, it's pretty pictures, right? And the food looks amazing, which I think is important. I think aesthetics are important because we eat with our eyes first.
I think on the veganism spectrum, it's either it looks amazing or it looks like slop.
Yeah, there's no in between.
I don't see the middle ground. I'm like, look at like it's a bunch of brown. You're like, what is?
I was like, where's the red? Where's the green? Where's the color? I was like, plating 101, y'all. Plating 101.
Basics.
But that's why I don't post Thanksgiving and Christmas plates, because I'm just like, even on the vegan side, it all looks the same, y'all. Like, it all looks this is not cute, but whatever. That's that's not what we're talking about today. Let me focus. But I think that we need to do a better job of being inclusive. And that demographic that you're talking about is the lost demographic, right? Like, older millennials and Gen X, we are going through it right now in terms of women, this is the first generation that's been openly talking about perimenopause, right? And all the things that we were too afraid to talk about in earlier generations. They didn't talk out loud about what was going on with their bodies. They kept all that stuff quiet. Gen X folks and older millennials, like, we grew up in that latchkey kind of like, it is what it is. Y'all gonna get all this information. We are not holding this back. We're trying to make things better for other people. And we are just unbothered and bold. So we're gonna talk. And so I think that if we do a better job of focusing in on that too, because we are that late 30s to like early 60s right now, those are the women who are the bridge generation. They're taking care of the elders and the kids,
Yeah.
and their teenagers and their 20-something-year-olds, and we're still heavy in the workforce. We're still influencing culture. This is still the hip hop generation.
Yeah.
That grew, like, we grew up with hip hop. We grew up with that kind of culture. It's a different we're living in a different time where things are really uncensored and really bold. And we need the aesthetics to reflect that.
So we've said many times that we need a rebranding, and I named this episode "Veganism Needs a Rebrand: How to Make Plant-Based Living Real." So what's the rebrand? So we already know what's out there. So, and I'm a person like I'll post, but I don't scroll. So I miss a lot that was happening because I hear people say, "Oh, it seems like it's just a bunch of skinny white girls living their best lives." When you think of a vegan. And from doing the work in the grassroots, that's not what I see. I see lots of Black women in particular that are leading that trail. And when I do these classes or in my health clinic, when people come to me, it's all walks of life and they all want to be better and they all want to do it as naturally as possible. So what I see in real life and then what I'm hearing, because I don't really, like I said, I don't scroll about what's presented on social media, what can we do to be better?
We need to pitch relentlessly to some of these outlets that are only showing the celebs and the certain aesthetic. So that's why we keep seeing it when we're scrolling, because certain outlets are only showcasing them, or they're showcasing their very few Black and brown folks, like the ones that they have cherry picked to show that they are diverse.
The tokens.
The tokens.
Okay.
And not to say that they are trying to be tokens, they're just being picked out because they're good at what they do and they are shining bright, and that's great. But we need to showcase others. Because you're right, there's a lot of people. There's a lot of Black and brown folks who are like doing the thing, but we are not getting the same funding. It's the same thing that's happening just in general in the world, right? So, like, we're not getting the same funding, we're not getting the same resources, and we're not getting the same exposure on a national and international scale. So that's what it is. We need to be in more of the outlets. We need to do more mainstream stuff. We need to support each other and get those numbers up. and get those algorithms pushing so that we see more of that.
From your perspective as a publicist and lifelong vegan, what one shift in how we talk about veganism would make the biggest difference for people who are trying to change their health story?
I think that from a personal point of view, I think that we need to have more emphasis on cultural relevancy and authenticity. I know I keep hitting that point home, but it's true. From a cultural point of view, we're ignoring or erasing culture. And I think we need to embrace that more and bring it in and be more inclusive of, if there's various cultural norms, bringing those in and showing people that you can still keep your traditions. You can still keep your culture. You can still be who you are
100%.
when you're vegan. And that you're not missing anything, you're not losing anything. Let's show how it's relevant.
Yeah.
I think that's where we're almost there, but we're not quite getting it
Okay.
the way that we need to really hit it. And that's gonna help with the diversity thing, right?
That's true. That's true. Okay, a last question, something we ask every guest. If you could help every listener make just one more informed choice this week, what would it be?
Oh, that's a good one. I would say if you stumble, get back up. It is not just because you fall off the wagon, so to speak, it does not mean you're not vegan anymore. It doesn't mean that you're doing something bad. It doesn't mean that you can't start over again. We wake up each and every day with a new chance to get it right. That is why we wake up. That's why God gives us this breath in our body. Every single day, you get a new chance. And every day is not promised. So you have to live each day as best you can, do the best you can,
Yeah.
and just forgive yourself and keep it moving and do better. And just do better.
Yes.
That's all.
I love it. Well, before we transition to our cooking segment, please tell people how they can reach you and what the best ways to contact you and all the things that you do.
Okay. So if you need anything PR branding related, I own JSW Media Group. You can hit us up on Instagram at JSW Media. You can hit me personally on Instagram at Jameka Shame. That's JAMEKASHAMAE. And also an email, Jameka at jswmediagroup.com. If you have some things that you want to talk about on the vegan side, hit us up on Stylish Vegan, and that's on Instagram at stylish_vegan. And I got you. I got you. Whatever you need. You want to just chat? You need to talk? Come on. We can do that.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much for being here. We're going to go ahead and transition to our cooking segment.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, welcome to the cooking segment. So this is going to be like a slight twist on one of the most popular recipes on my website, which is the Marry Me butter beans. But instead, today I'm going to use lupini beans. So lupini beans aren't as common here in the United States, I've noticed. They're very popular throughout North Africa and the Mediterranean. They're very, very high in protein, actually higher than soybeans. So just one little cup is 25 grams protein.
Okay.
Yes, and they're actually a lot lower in fat, so it has barely any fat in it, and it's lower in carbohydrates. So if you're trying to incorporate more beans into your diet, but you're scared of the carbs, or you think it's too much fat, or anything like that, lupini beans is a great option. Throughout the North Africa, it's a snack, so they're brined, and then it's eaten as a snack.
Ooh.
Yeah, and they are a great meal prep bean. I don't have that one featured in my food prep book, but it's something you can totally swap in and out for other beans in there because it has an al dente texture, so it doesn't get mushy the longer it sits.
Oh, I love that.
It holds its texture. It has a firmness and chewiness to it. It's really high in prebiotics too. So if you have any time of gut health issues, it's going to help with that. And also, this particular bean is very low in lectins and anti-nutrients. So some people say I can't eat beans. This is one of the beans you can because it's really low with that. So, and also I always tell people if you have that issue, make sure you're actually soaking your beans with a strip of like kombu. It helps with those anti-nutrients being released. And but this is like sorghum. Sorghum doesn't have that hole on it, so it doesn't have the lectins. But this has a little bit. So if you just soak them, it's good to go. It's also these beans are in a glass jar because I try to avoid canned beans. So this is in your regular grocery store in a canned jar that's in water. So they're really easy to find out nowadays, and It's just something different. So you can do chickpeas or lentils and all the other regular schmegular stuff, but we like to do things a little different around here.
A little fancy. Oh, I do.
Just a little bit, just a little bit.
I like
Okay, so with that, we're going to start off. We're going to saute some red onion,
They smell so good already.
and I'm going to go ahead and add in the garlic. Now, I'm kind of heavy-handed with garlic. Hope that doesn't bother you.
I love myself some garlic.
Okay, my kind of girl, my
Yeah.
kind of girl.
Right.
And we're going to add in some sun-dried tomatoes. I've already drained the oil from them. I normally get the kind that's not packed in oil, but use what you got.
Hey,
Use what you got. Okay. I want to come out all slow on camera. It's okay.
I was literally about to make a Players Club reference to using what you got, but I'm not gonna do it. Wait, I just did.
We're going to give this a little toss around. And while those are kind of starting to play friends together, we have our spices here. So I have a mix of, on the bottom, I have some smoked paprika.
Okay.
I have some Italian seasoning.
Ooh, and is that nutritional yeast?
And then I have our best friend, nutritional yeast. It's the non-fortified kinds, but we don't do fake vitamins here. Okay. So this is also really high in protein as well. So just 2 tablespoons is 8 grams of protein with this brand. It's really high in your B vitamins, which give you your energy, helps with your mitochondrial health.
That good B12 in there, right?
So in the non-fortified kind, it doesn't have the synthetic B12.
Ooh,
So that's why it's not that bright
you
yellow.
got the good stuff.
I got the good stuff. Right. So I'm going to pour all that in there. And then I have like a couple of dashes of red pepper flake because I wasn't sure if she could handle the spice. So
I can handle the spice.
if I had known, if I had done my due diligence and asked that,
I like it hot up in here.
see, this is what kind of, she's my girl already. Hot and spicy. I like that. Ooh, it smells good already.
Ooh, it does. I wish y'all could smell this right now.
So while this is all starting to sing, we're going to add some more liquid to the pan. So I'm just adding in 2 cans of, I chose fire roasted tomatoes. And right now, when we're recording this, it's winter. So this is the only time I use canned tomatoes because the fresh tomatoes right now taste horrible.
Yeah,
It's pretty daggone horrible.
they really do.
Yeah. So this is when I buy canned tomatoes. That's already like looking amazing.
And I love that you cook according to the seasons here, like making sure you use ingredients according to the season.
Got to. Stay in your farmer's market. We have 4 seasons and things grow in season. They're not available all year. So the stuff's not available, then I buy it frozen or jarred so that they pick it at peak ripeness and they either flash freeze it or can it at that time. So you get optimal flavor. Because flavor first.
Yeah.
Okay? Flavor first.
Oh, this smells so good.
And then I'm going to go ahead and add in our lovely Lupini beans that I already drained and rinsed from our jar. Let those all sing together. See, I love when they become friends in the pot.
Mm-hmm.
Oof.
I am all up in this pot, y'all. I'm like, yeah, I know you cooking, but like, let me see
You check it all out. Check it all out. And our last thing that makes this a complete dish, so we've got our protein from the Lupini beans. We have our non-starchy veg from the tomatoes. And we're going to add some basil later. So we have our antioxidants and some other minerals there. But we need a complete fat, a whole fat, so that we can absorb all the fat-soluble nutrients as well. And that source will be our coconut milk. And this is just a 2-ingredient kind. No funny business here. It's just coconut and water.
Nice and creamy too.
It's amazing. Now, for some of you who are extremely averse to the taste of coconut, because I have some friends just like, I just can't do coconut, blah, blah, blah. Okay, use cashew cream.
Oh, there you go.
You can't do nuts, hemp cream.
We got something for you.
We've got something for you. It all worked.
No excuses, y'all. Y'all hear that? No excuses. Chef has spoken.
It'll cook a little faster. Well, it's fine. I'm just going to turn to heat up. We're speed rolling this. All right, so while we are letting this come to a nice, beautiful simmer, just so the people get to know you a little bit better, we always have to ask some rapid fire questions. So whatever comes to your mind first, so people get to know you a touch better. Okay? I'm almost scared. Nah, just be you. Just be you.
That's the scary.
I know that's beautiful. That's the juicy part. That's what we like.
Ooh, boy. Okay.
Okay. What's the first word that comes to your mind when you hear the word vegan?
Food.
Food. Okay. If you could only eat one plant-based meal on repeat for a week, what would it be?
Chickpeas with brown rice. And the reason why is because I do a special with the chickpeas. I make sure there's nutritional yeast in there. There's usually a little bit of vegan butter. I put in some olive oil. I do some lemon juice and heat it up and make it a nice little creamy
A whole situation.
full situation.
Yeah.
Herbs and spice.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that. What song is guaranteed to change your mood for the better?
Ooh, let's get it on.
Really?
Yes.
I'm
Only
only
because I'm a Marvin Gaye fan. I love old school soul music. So but Marvin Gaye so my favorite artists are Marvin Gaye and Tupac, and they are like artists of two sides of the same coin. You know what I mean?
Marvin Gaye and Tupac. Okay.
I know it's very odd, but this is you asked.
Okay. Sneakers, heels for a long day of events. Which one?
Okay, so technically I should do sneakers, but I end up having my feet hurt because I will wear some heels because I come from the old school of PR where I came from old school fashion PR. So, the black dress,
Oh,
the heels,
so that's the thing.
that was the thing.
Okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, but if you see me at Veg Fest, mind your business, 'cause I'm gonna have some sneakers on.
Well, tell the people a little bit about this. We didn't get to really touch on that.
Oh yeah, so Charlotte Veg Fest has been happening since 2012. I took the reins 3 years ago, so it's been a good run. Kind of changed some things up a little bit, but it's been really great. It's just a celebration of all things food, culture, and community,
That's awesome.
and we are getting ready. Or it's the second Saturday of October every single year.
Every year.
Yeah.
Okay. So I actually know that as I was seeing random, but it's not.
It is not random. We used to be in September,
Yeah,
but I
okay.
switched it.
Okay.
Probably a couple of years ago
Okay. Okay.
because I wanted it to be a holiday weekend so that people would have that Monday off. So in case we wanted to eventually do some programming on that Sunday, we could as well.
That's hard.
Yeah. Uh, who's up?
Beauty and brains. Okay.
I mean, we try. We try.
Okay. That's good. Okay. Introvert recharger or extrovert recharger?
Extrovert recharger.
Okay.
I'm not sure if y'all would be able to figure that out, but yes.
Definitely. Okay. A city you could see yourself living in for a year just for the experience.
Ooh, that is a really good one. Just for the experience, Greece. I know that's a country. I know that's not a city. Probably Santorini, but I could also see myself in Morocco, just for the
Like Casablanca or Marrakesh or
I don't know. It's too many options.
too many options.
But if we're looking at the U.S. though, New York is always my heart.
Really?
Yeah, I love Brooklyn.
Really? We like the concrete jungle.
A little bit, I just spent a week in Brooklyn not too long ago, probably earlier this year, and I was just like, yes, I could do this. She goes, and all my people were originally from Brooklyn, like all my friends. And
Oh,
stuff,
okay.
so
Okay.
they called me an honorary Brooklynite.
So you're still in the club.
I'm still in the club a little bit. Well, I might be like looking in from the door.
You peeking in?
I'm peeking in. I'm trying to like bribe the bouncer a little bit to get back in. Yeah, just a little. Plus, well, no, I can't say that out loud. I was gonna say I love men from up top, but
Oh, we
I
heard
said-
we heard it first here,
yeah,
y'all.
we said it already. I did say it out loud. Oh my goodness, this is just
Nothing wrong with that.
turning into things, isn't it?
Hey, you put it out there so you never know what comes back.
Vegan over 6 feet, that would be great.
Okay. Y'all heard it.
Very low bar, y'all. Y'all saw that, right? Like just vegan over 6 feet. Joking. I like respectful, honest, all these things.
All the other things.
Yes,
The important things.
the important things. But aesthetics, make me happy as well. Okay, sorry. Let's go.
One non-negotiable self-care habit you protect even on your busiest days.
Oh, I do aromatherapy showers. So I have to have I have peppermint lavender. I do a peppermint lavender mix.
Okay.
Always. Like
Like the bath bomb thing, shower bomb things?
no, actually I do I'll get the essential oils itself.
Uh-huh.
And what you do as as a little trick, so you don't have to buy the bath bombs unless you want to.
Okay.
I'll get a super hot shower with the steam and I put it at the bottom of the tub so then it comes up and then you get a spray bottle, you put it on the yeah.
I'm gonna try that.
And then just a little bit, you could put it on the head of the shower so it'll come out when it comes out. And then I always use Dr. Bronner's soap.
Yeah, okay.
Like I've been using that for since I was a little girl.
It's kind of the truth.
It's the truth. We like that tango.
Yeah,
Tango with
I love it.
with the peppermints.
Love it.
Not tingle, y'all. It's tango.
Okay. One book or documentary most shaped how you see compassion or justice?
Oh,
I know one's probably really difficult.
yeah,
So many.
that's really hard for me because number one, I'm a book lover. So I read books all the time. But I have to shout out Leah Garces, who I worked with extensively during this past year for her book tour. Book is called Transformation: The Movement to Free Us from Factory Farming. And that was such a good experience reading that book and then going on the road and seeing how people were, just like affected by it. What she talks about in that book is not just factory farming and the evils of it, but how it affects people and beings and the system in general. So she talks about like how it affects even immigrants and black folks and all sorts of stuff. She touches on some things. So it's really good. So y'all
That's
pick
my
that up.
those. Yeah, I definitely asked my list.
And it's transformation.
Yeah, I caught that. Okay, that's awesome. One thing people get completely wrong about vegans.
That we aren't fun. I know I said that before, but I mean like we are real people, y'all. We're real people.
I never thought about the thing if I could see it seeing stuffy and rigid and all.
Right. Or that all of it's either one or the other, right? Like or we're very just like flowy and everything goes and hippiness. Like one of the things that people always get on me, they're just like, you drink champagne. I was like, yeah, most champagne is vegan. Toast. Yeah, most. You still gotta look at the ingredients, check out how it's made, all of that. But like I do champagne. I like cocktails. I wear heels. I have natural hair, but like, sometimes I like to be a little fancy.
Stylish vegan. All right, the last rapid fire question. When you are 95 and looking back, what do you hope people will say you stood for?
Being real and being good to people.
I think that's easy. I think you got that one locked in.
Oh, thank you.
Yes. Well, think we're about ready for our taste test.
Oh, yes. I gotta say, it smells delicious.
Always taste your food. Don't let it be the first time when guests have it, okay? That's good. It's near. Hair salt. Well, always add your citrus first, off heat, so it doesn't become bitter. But when you add citrus first, you'll add less salt.
That is a good thing to know. I did not know that.
Yeah. And so when I used to like coconut milk, because it can be like, it's very rich,
Mm-hmm.
I like to brighten it up with lime or lemon.
And I am such a citrus girl. I love lemon in a lot of my food. Like, yeah, so I'm in the right place.
You're in the right place.
In the right place.
Plus all the iron that's in the lupini beans
Mhm.
and in the sun-dried tomatoes, by adding in vitamin C, like lemon juice, you absorb more of the iron.
Ooh.
So remember, food is always medicine. And since I'm always talking about food prep, so you're never like caught off guard, this food preps so well. If food preps so well, like I said, the lupini beans, they don't ever get mushy. Number one.
Seeing them, yeah.
They hold up very well. They're still like al dente. And this freezes very well. And this lasts, the longer it sits, the better it tastes.
Now, can you, and it's a complete protein, so I could have it just like this, or do you have it over rice or over a grain or?
Serve this over a grain, and so I've
Okay.
already made a mixture of brown rice, amaranth, and sorghum.
Ooh.
Ancient grains, yeah.
Okay.
But normally I eat this over wild rice. That's my preferred
I
grain.
love myself some wild rice.
Yes, it's my favorite. But I did this because I was like, I be a little bit on the safer side. And then going to taste test again to see if I need to add any salts and add in the citrus. See, barely don't need salt, just add a pinch. And then we're gonna fold in our basil.
Ooh. Get that nice green color in there.
Tomato basil. Now we have all the colors of the rainbow.
Oh, and I smell that basil. I wish I could smell this, y'all.
Look how that just brings all the colors together.
Ooh, so pretty. Okay. So if you wake up and I'm just at your house,
Yeah, well,
open invitation, just know that I'm just sitting there like, okay, so like, Jameka's there again? Yeah, she's still there.
I said, hey, she's here. Okay, come on in. Come on in. Now I have my little bougie salt my husband got me.
Ooh.
This is infused with citrus. So I'm just going to add just a little bit.
Yes.
And then we'll get her served up. And then she will give us her honest opinion
Yes.
on if this is a keeper. If it's a keeper, she just take it home. If it's not, then maybe my husband will eat it. Okay. All right. The basil has wilted enough. Look at that beautiful green.
Gorgeous.
So pretty.
So gorgeous. To say that I am excited is not even.
See, when you're a real foodie, you get excited about these things.
That's who I am. I'm like, yeah.
Like, yes, we get to eat. Yes. Okay, get you a plate. Stir it up. It's sorghum, brown rice, and amaranth just mixed together. I freeze a batch it so that way it's always something ready to go.
I love that.
Because I was like, I didn't have enough time this morning to make the wild rice like I wanted to. But I'm like, this is always a winner.
Be back for the wild rice. That's fine.
This is usually a winner. All right. This is just a tasting plate just to see, make sure if you like it or not. So you have the different textural contrasts in the whole grains and also from the Lupini beans.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get the little sauce to sauce up the.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
Okay. Beautiful as your smile.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. I'm excited. Let me get a good forkful. I got all the things. Because I want to make sure I taste everything. Okay.
Have you had Lupini beans before?
Long time ago.
Okay.
Okay. Loving the texture. Sauces. I love the citrusy. Just the right amount of spice, even though you can make it hot for me next time.
Definitely.
The basil really brings things out. Like that tops it all off really nicely. And I love that you put just a dash of the salt to bring all, especially the tomato flavors out.
Yeah.
Everything married really well. This is good.
What about the textural contrast in the whole grains?
Mm-hmm. And what you said about the beans was absolutely on point. I love that they're not mushy. It's very the al dente part, yeah. And it holds up really well, and it actually holds the flavor.
And then, like I said, if you store this in your fridge, it won't get mushy. It still won't get mushy. So it's like excellent meal prep bean to use. And like I said, it's super high in protein, higher than soybeans.
This is getting a 10 out of 10 for me. I like it. And I am very discerning.
I know. You have to be.
So I knew I said that I was going to come back, but I'm serious now. Like I'm about to move in with them because I have like an extra person that's just gonna be at the dinner table.
Sister like.
Yeah. Well,
For y'all who didn't hear, my husband said sister life. I mean, if it comes with food, I mean, maybe we'll do anything for food. I'm on that bus too.
oh my goodness, I didn't turn this whole thing. Okay. I'm gonna just be quiet over here and just eat. Okay.
Thank you so much for coming on the show today. It's been an absolute pleasure. It has been very enlightening for the listeners and for myself.
This is so good.
I'm glad you like the food.
I put this down like, and I have to give you a hug. Oh, thank you so much.
This is good. Thank you so much. And thank you all for listening today. And until next week, heal naturally, live vibrantly.